To appear weak is to be treated as prey. In a world where power is currency, perception matters more than truth. You could be crumbling on the inside, your mind fractured, your confidence shaken, but none of that can be allowed to show. People do not respond to your pain with compassion. They respond with calculation. They sense opportunity. Weakness is not pitied. It is punished. Once you reveal fragility, you invite every form of disrespect, subtle dismissals, open mockery, silent withdrawals of loyalty, and worst of all, abandonment. The moment people believe you are no longer capable of carrying your weight, they begin preparing for your replacement. They speak to you differently. They stop listening. They question your decisions. They stop fearing your presence and start discussing your absence. Even allies, even those who once admired you, will begin to distance themselves. They may not even realize they're doing it. It is human nature. We are drawn to strength and repelled by weakness, especially when that weakness is made visible. The battlefield of life is littered with men who shared too much, exposed their soft underbellies, and were met not with comfort, but with coldness. Crying out to the world when you are bleeding may feel honest, but honesty is a fool's luxury when survival is at stake. This does not mean you should never feel pain. It means you must contain it. Harden it into fuel. When things fall apart, you must develop ability to project control, even when chaos roars inside you. That image, calm, focused, unshaken, is not for your comfort, it is for your protection. People follow certainty. They cling to those who appear composed, even when circumstances are unstable. They trust the man who looks like he's already solved the problem, even if he hasn't. The appearance of strength buys you time, grants you influence, and preserves your position. There is also a deeper layer to this. Once you begin to believe that appearing strong is necessary, you will eventually start becoming strong. The performance begins as a mask, but if worn long enough, it fuses with the skin. You become what you pretend to be. That is the paradox of power. Pretending not to be broken forces you to gather the pieces and hold them together. The posture of control demands that you either rise or be exposed as a liar. In that pressure, real strength is forged, but many make the fatal error of seeking sympathy. They believe by exposing their wounds, they will be embraced. This is a dangerous illusion. Sympathy is short-lived. It does not restore respect. In fact, it is often followed by resentment. The people you burden with your weakness begin to see you as a liability. They don't want to carry you. They want someone who can carry them. And so, the man who cries to the world becomes the man the world leaves behind. Trust is the currency of fools. It is offered too quickly, too easily, and too blindly by those who crave connection more than they value caution. In this world, the smile can be a disguise, the handshake a distraction, and the kind word a trap. People often cloak their ambition behind friendliness. Their loyalty is conditional. Their allegiance is temporary. Today they serve you. Tomorrow they betray you. Not out of malice, but because circumstances change and people follow their own advantage. That is the reality most are too naive to accept. They want to believe in loyalty as a virtue, not as a transaction. But in every room, there are motives hidden behind manners. The one who forgets this will always be the one betrayed. To trust easily is to place the blade in another's hand and hope they won't use it. Hope is not a strategy. There are people who will wait months, even years, to use the information you gave them in confidence. They will nod while you speak and take mental notes. They will ask you about your weaknesses in the name of intimacy and use them in the name of opportunity. The betrayal, when it comes, will not be a surprise. It will be the result of a warning you chose to ignore. The warning that no one is beyond self-interest. The man who trusts too quickly is always in a hurry. He wants to build alliances, to secure loyalty, to feel safe. But safety is an illusion. The moment you let someone too close without vetting their character, you have given them leverage. People do not need to attack you to hurt you. They simply need to know enough to influence your actions. A subtle word here, a quiet withdrawal of support there. Before long, you're dancing to a tune you didn't even realize they were playing. Trust, once given, is almost impossible to control. It spreads like fire. One person tells another, and soon your private life becomes public property. What you said in confidence becomes gossip, weaponized against you when your back is turned. It is not about paranoia. It is about control. Control of your reputation, your image, your decisions. The fewer people who know your thoughts, the fewer who can shape them. The fewer who know your strategies, the fewer who can sabotage them. A wise man withholds trust not out of fear but out of discipline. He tests loyalty. He observes patterns. He listens more than he speaks. He waits, because in time, everyone reveals themselves, not through their words, but through their actions. And when they do, the man who waited will know exactly how far to let them in. Even those who seem loyal today can become liabilities tomorrow. Circumstances shift, power structures collapse. What was once mutual benefit becomes conflict, and the man you trusted may now stand on the side of your enemy. Not because he hates you, but because he found a better offer. Mercy, when shown without calculation, is an invitation to be disrespected. The world does not admire kindness when it is offered too freely. It views it as softness, as a crack in the armor. Mercy is only respected when it comes from a position of undeniable strength, when the giver has the power to destroy and yet chooses restraint. To be merciful without command, to forgive without dominance, is to tell others that you can be walked over without consequence. The instinct to show compassion may seem noble, but nobility without fear is a liability. Those who receive your mercy often repay it with contempt. When you spare someone who would not have spared you, you do not elevate yourself, you lower your position in their eyes. They begin to question your edge, your resolve, your seriousness. If you will not draw blood when it is warranted, they assume you never will. And from that assumption they begin to act. They test your limits, challenge your authority, disregard your warnings. Mercy becomes a weakness not because the act itself is wrong, but because it signals a lack of spine. In the court of power, that signal is lethal. It is not uncommon for those who are shown mercy to turn around and exploit it. The enemy you spare today remembers your hesitation. He stores it in his memory, waits for your guard to lower again, and uses that second chance not to become loyal, but to strike harder. It is a harsh truth that some enemies are more dangerous after mercy is extended to them. The guilt you avoided by showing leniency becomes the regret you carry when they rise again to challenge you. Mercy without judgment is mercy wasted. In war, in politics, in life, restraint must be weaponized. It must be part of a broader strategy, not an emotional reflex. The wise understand that every action sends a message, and when that message is, I can be swayed by sentiment, the door opens for manipulation. Those who watch your mercy learn how to exploit it. They imitate weakness to provoke your compassion. They display sorrow to gain your favor. And when you take the bait, they pocket the reward and prepare their next move. There is also the danger of reputation. The man who is too forgiving gains a reputation for it. People begin to see him not as noble, but as knave. His courtroom becomes crowded with repeat offenders. His rules are bent more often than they are followed. His forgiveness becomes expected. The edge of his authority dulls with every unpunished betrayal. And soon, he is no longer feared, only tolerated, until he is no longer tolerated at all. Mercy is a gift meant for those who understand the cost of receiving it. Given to the wrong person, it becomes ammunition. They do not change because you forgave them. They do not reflect or reform. They see your mercy as an opportunity to advance, and they take it without hesitation. Revealing your true intentions is the quickest way to lose control. Once people know what you want, they can shape your path, obstruct your goals, or manipulate your strategy. Transparency is a virtue taught to the obedient, not the powerful. Those who speak openly about their desires make themselves predictable. And once predictable, they become controllable. A man who announces his next move invites resistance. He gives his enemies time to prepare, and his rivals time to intercept. The moment your ambition is visible, it becomes a target. There is power in silence. The quiet man creates anxiety. He generates questions. People wonder what he's thinking, what he's planning, what he truly wants. That uncertainty grants him leverage. When others cannot decipher your game, they hesitate. They miscalculate. They expose their own intentions in a desperate attempt to uncover yours. That is when the quiet man strikes. Not because he is slow, but because he is deliberate. He does not warn. He does not negotiate. He simply moves when it is already too late to stop him. To conceal your intent is not deception. It is survival. Not everyone needs to know your motives. In truth, most people should never know them, even allies, even those closest to you. Because alliances shift, circumstances change, and once someone knows your purpose, they hold a piece of your power. That piece can be sold, stolen, or used against you. There are men who have lost empires not through weakness, but through honesty. They spoke too freely. They assumed loyalty where there was only convenience. And by the time they realized it, their enemies were already inside the walls. The clever man uses misdirection. He tells partial truths. He appears to aim in one direction while advancing in another. His words are layered, open to interpretation, easily denied. When he speaks, it is not to inform, but to influence. He controls the narrative by never revealing the full story. This does not make him dishonest. It makes him strategic. Those who value honesty above effectiveness rarely reach the top. They confuse morality with intelligence, forgetting that this world rewards outcomes, not intentions. Even in matters of the heart, revealing too much too soon is a mistake. The person who knows you are fully invested gains the upper hand. They have less reason to respect your boundaries, less fear of losing you, more room to manipulate your emotions. Power in relationships comes not from love withheld, but from control maintained. And that control begins with mystery. In negotiation, the one who speaks less wins more. The moment you reveal what you truly want, the other party adjusts their offer to exploit that desire. They press your weakness. They force concessions. And by the time you realize the trap, your own words have already built the cage. Silence is a shield. Vagueness is a weapon. The man who keeps his motives hidden holds the advantage in every room he enters. Attaching your fate to another is the beginning of dependency, and dependency is the death of autonomy. The man who leans on others for direction, support, or validation hands over the reins to his own destiny. In doing so, he surrenders control not just of outcomes but of identity. No matter how loyal, how powerful, how capable another person may seem, placing your future in their hands is a silent agreement to live by their choices, not your own. When they rise, you rise. When they fall, you fall harder. Their limitations become yours, and their decisions echo louder in your life than your own voice ever could. Those who tie themselves to others do so out of fear. Fear of solitude, fear of responsibility, fear of bearing the full weight of their own ambition. But in trying to shield themselves from failure, they create a new kind of prison. One built not of bars, but of invisible chains that tighten with every compromise. You become cautious not for yourself, but for them. You measure your risks by what they might lose. You adjust your pace to their comfort, your vision to their capacity. Slowly, you begin to shrink, not out of weakness, but out of misplaced loyalty. No alliance is immune to change. Circumstances evolve, people shift priorities, agendas diverge. The one who stood beside you yesterday may now stand in your way, not out of betrayal, but simply because their path no longer aligns with yours. And when that moment comes, when the roads split, the man who built his future on someone else's foundation is left with nothing but regret and delay. He must now begin again, but this time older, slower, and haunted by what he gave away. Even in relationships that seem equal, dependence breeds imbalance. The moment you believe you cannot proceed without another person, you lose leverage, you speak differently, you hesitate, you tolerate more than you should. They, in turn, feel that power, consciously or not, and begin to wield it. What began as partnership transforms into quiet dominance. And when their needs conflict with yours will always come second. The illusion of shared fate is seductive. It feels safe. It promises support, shared burdens, divided risks. But true power is not divided. It is carried alone. The most dangerous man in any room is the one who needs nothing from anyone. He can walk away. He can act without permission. He can speak the truth without fear of losing favor. That freedom is not granted. It is earned, and it begins the moment you stop leaning and start standing alone. Independence is not isolation. It is clarity. It is knowing that your rise or fall begins with you, and no one else. It is the discipline to build alone, to suffer alone, to succeed without applause. Because applause fades, partnerships dissolve, and even the strongest supporters can become silent when the storm comes. The only security lies in becoming your own foundation. The world does not reward the soft, the naive, or the sentimental. It respects only those who move with clarity, caution, and cold precision. The man who wins is the one who refuses to be ruled by emotion, who keeps his intent hidden, his power guarded, and his independence sacred. He knows that trust is a currency best withheld, mercy a weapon best wielded from a position of dominance, and weakness a signal never to be broadcast. He does not tether his future to the unreliable hands of others, nor does he ask for permission to rise. He calculates, he adapts, and he strikes when the moment is right. He is feared not for his cruelty, but for his discipline. He is respected not for his kindness, but for his control. In a world built on deception, betrayal, and shifting allegiances, his armor is strategy, and his sword is silence. He does not beg for peace. He commands it through presence alone. This is how the strong survive. This is how the wise endure. This is how the ruthless ascend.